There were so many things to think about right that second, and I didn't have time to think about one of them. There was Mr. Black, our teacher, who'd galloped away on his horse and would maybe have it in for the whole gang of us the next day at school. There in Old Man Paddler's hand was my little brown suitcase, which had my pajamas in it, and I hoped Poetry's mom's beautiful new brooch, which she'd left at our house. There was a letter, which somebody'd stolen from me, and which had said that I was a roughneck and the whole Sugar Creek gang was a bunch of roughnecks. And there was the wrestling fight we'd been having with old John Till, whose leg I was still holding on to. So I didn't have time to think about much of anything. Also, I knew we probably ought to get going with Old Man Paddler to Poetry's house, where all our parents were waiting for us and wondering what on earth had happened to us. Right that minute, John Till started squirming and kicking, or rather trying to, and twisting and grunting and swearing and calling us names. His voice was pretty muffled because he was down on his stomach and his face was probably mixed up in snow. The gang was grunting too, I tell you. Circus must have felt as I did about what Old Man Paddler would maybe think we were doing and shouldn't have been, because he said to the old man from between his gritted teeth, "He's been stealing my dad's fur from his tribes, and we caught him at it. He was skinning a possum which he took out of a trap on Bumblebee Hill." Poetry piped up, "He stole my mother's beautiful new brooch." And I chimed in between grunts, "And my suitcase, and a letter, and he called us a bunch of roughnecks." John Till let out a roar, made a mighty heave of his body, shoved out his arms, and tried to push us all off. But he couldn't, so he yelled, "I did not! You're a bunch of liars! Let me up, I tell you how! I'll—" Well, whatever it was he wanted to do to us, we knew he wouldn't get a chance to do it unless we gave him a chance, and we weren't going to do that, no sir. Big Jim, who was sprawled across John Till's shoulders, holding him down with all his strength, cut in then and said fiercely, "John Till, we're not letting you up, understand? We're going to tie your hands behind you, and you're going to walk along with us until we get to Poetry's house. Then we're taking you in somebody's car to town and back to jail." John Till let out a couple of fierce swear words and said, "You're not taking me to anybody's jail. I've been in jail enough in my life." "You are going to jail," Big Jim said to him through his teeth. "We caught you stealing out of Circus's dad's traps, and that's where you're going." Well, I don't know what we would have done with John Till if Old Man Paddler's kind voice hadn't broken in then and said, "Listen, boys, listen." For a minute, everything was quiet, and I had a feeling that the old man was going to say something very important. He was sort of like my dad, always saying things that were different. Since he was a good Christian and lived like one all the time, I knew he would maybe say something about the Bible. And sure enough, he did. It made me wish I could think of things like that instead of always wanting to beat up on somebody. Anyway, this is what that kind, quavering, high-pitched old voice said. "He deserves punishment, boys, but he doesn't need to be punished nearly so much as he needs to be changed. He needs to hear the gospel. And maybe he needs somebody to be kind to him." Then Old Man Paddler changed his tone of voice and talked straight to John Till himself. All of us, including John Till, kept quiet to listen. This is what that old man said, and wow, did he say it like he meant business, even though he used a kind voice. "John Till, you are out on parole. If I hadn't believed you'd go straight, I wouldn't have let them parole you to me. But I did believe it, and—" Even while Old Man Paddler was talking turkey to John Till, who had to listen whether he wanted to or not, I thought about what a kind person that old man really was. Imagine his going to the jail or the judge or wherever he'd gone and asking them to let John Till out and to parole him over to him. It certainly showed that Old Man Paddler wasn't always thinking about himself. Right then he was telling John Till things that maybe his own dad should have told him a long time ago, so he wouldn't have grown up to be such a wicked man. Old Man Paddler was saying, "For the sake of your wife and your two boys, Bob and Tom, and for your own sake, John, you've got to go straight this time. If you have to go back to jail, it'll mean a longer sentence and probably the state penitentiary for you. Then who'll look after your family? Who'll buy the groceries and clothes and shoes? No, John, now's the time to go straight. You don't have to steal to get money either.